Hey guys, it's me, Halloween Dan, doing a very different video today, one where I'm doing one of my random chats that I like to do from time to time. I always feel like it kind of gets me centered as to what really makes Halloween special for me. With the start of a new year, I think it's worth just sort of reaffirming almost with myself what it is that I love about Halloween, what truly makes it special. I've spent the last few videos talking about props and things, which I love doing. But there are many things that make me love Halloween, and props are only one factor in that. In truth, many of the things that make me love Halloween the most are kind of weird. And I like doing these videos. I've done them for as long as this channel's existed, where I just like to kind of make sure I'm kind of reaffirming with everyone. Does anyone else think like this? Is anyone else thinking about Halloween like I'm thinking about Halloween? I'm not overly sure they are, but it's kind of nice just to sort of get someone else's point of view and opinion on this. Now, today's topic is a weird one. This is where I really do go off on a weird little path of sorts, because it is a weird one, and I really don't know whether anyone else feels this way about Halloween. It's kind of why I'm doing this video. But it actually plays a huge role in why I love Halloween so much. If anything, it goes quite deep within me, and I think it's actually one of the main reasons, actually, why I love Halloween in a strange kind of way. So what we're talking about today is not a thing, it's not a place, it's not an event, it is a feeling. Now, I know some of you will hear that word feeling and go, swipe, no thanks. Don't want to be talking about none of them feelings. Don't worry, it's not lovey-dovey feelings or anything like that. I use the word feeling because I don't know how else to describe it. The only other word I can use to describe what I'm talking about is another word that makes people go, ugh. And that is magic. Because what I'm talking about today, again, I'm not talking to those guys that pull rabbits out of hats. I'm not talking about magicians or any of that weird stuff. I'm talking about the feeling I get around Halloween, a feeling of magic, of mysticism, of spooky eeriness that really makes Halloween special for me. And this is why. So this is what we're doing today. Hope you join me. So when I was a kid, I was that really dorky, geeky kid that loved anything even remotely magical. I fell for everything. I was easily duped, I suppose. Anything that sort of took our very ordinary, mundane human world and put it in a slightly magical realm, I was all over it. Completely and utterly believed in it. I think I was just that kid. I think I recognised that the world we live in is kind of boring, kind of ordinary. It could do with spicing up with just a little bit of magic every now and again. I was the kid who believed that we might go for a walk in the woods and come upon a fairy gathering or something, or that every time we crossed an old bridge there might be a troll underneath it. I didn't just like these stories. I fully was invested in them, fully believed in them. They were real as far as I was concerned. But without a doubt, head and shoulders above every other time of the year, the main, most magical time of the year, the time of year I looked forward to more than any other time of year, was Christmas. Yeah, I'm sorry guys, I know you don't want me to talk about Christmas, and I know I shouldn't be saying this. Now, when I was a kid, Halloween, I've said this before, Halloween didn't really play that big of a part in my life at that time. I grew up in the late 80s and early 90s, where in the UK at that time, Halloween just did not play a very important role. No one trick-or-treated, no one really did anything. We knew about it, I knew about it, but it wasn't a thing we all went out and celebrated. Christmas, on the other hand, was the biggest, most magical event in the entire year. And as a kid who loved magic, there was nothing like it. The rest of the year you were always being told to concentrate and to focus and to get your head out of the clouds. I was, anyway. But then Christmas would come along and it was completely okay. It was all right to think of the world in this magical way. In fact, you were encouraged to think about it in this magical way. And of course, the most magical of all magical bits about Christmas was Santa. The belief that this guy in his red outfit and his flying reindeer were coming from the North Pole and they were bringing you your gifts. That's epically magic. The most magical of magical things. So Christmas just hands down was magical. The most magical time of the year. But of course, like with everything, as you get older, the magic of those things starts to fade. And bit by bit, the world starts to push that magic out of you, telling you, nah, you can't believe in that sort of thing anymore. That's all rubbish. And that, for a kid who deeply believed in this kind of magic, was devastating. Really devastating. And I don't think, in a way, a weird way, I don't think I ever kind of got over the loss of that magic. It wasn't the loss of the myth and the legend, it was the loss of the magic. So it's at this exact same time in my life, around the time I'm about 10 or so, that I start to look for magic in other places and in other ways. And it's at that time that a very different kind of thing that isn't magic, but is sort of on the same level, started to become ever more present in my life. And that was the paranormal. I've only recently pieced these two parts of this puzzle together to sort of make a whole, but I've realised that I was so desperate for magic to exist in the world that it didn't really matter whether that was beautiful, enchanting magic or scary, dark magic. I was just so enamoured with the idea that the world was not just this plain, ordinary place. And whether you believe in the paranormal or not, there was something about those stories that made me think, wow, these people were living their ordinary lives in their ordinary homes, in their ordinary workplaces, and suddenly these unbelievable, scary, but unbelievable things were happening. And I didn't just believe in ghosts, I believed in any myth or legend, urban legends. I believed in the Chupacabra, in Bigfoot, aliens, UFOs. The whole shebang I was fully invested in. The Loch Ness Monster even. I was fully in belief for a period of time, right up until I was a teenager, that these things could be real. And the paranormal was the biggest one of all. Ghosts and all that kind of stuff, they were the ones that really got my blood pumping. I was really, really interested in it. And by the time I was maybe 16 or 17, it was ghost stories, anything that was ghost related, ghost stories, ghost movies, ghost documentaries. It didn't matter what it was, I was watching it or reading it. I was all over it. And it comes again from this idea that I wanted there to be more magic in the world. Even though that isn't magic, it was still an otherworldliness, so that in our ordinary everyday world, just beneath the surface, something strange and otherworldly was happening all around us all the time. And that, for me, was an amazing concept. I think I recognised that Halloween was the Christmas of not only autumn, which was one of my favourite times of year, but it was the Christmas of anything to do with monsters or the paranormal or anything strange or eerie or urban legends and all that kind of stuff. It was always at Halloween that all that sort of stuff was on the TV, or that the best books or comics to do with the subject came out. And I was completely invested in it. And before long, my love of the paranormal completely transferred over to a deep inset love of Halloween. And I've said this before, it is a strange relationship I have with Halloween in some respects. Lots of people do not get this, and I know there's people who are going to be watching this who are like, all right, Dan, geez. But for me, I'm not a religious person. I don't believe in an awful lot of stuff. Even the paranormal, as interested in it as I am, it doesn't necessarily mean I believe it all. But for me, Halloween is an almost spiritual event. And I don't mean like I feel like a pagan and want to go dance about around a bonfire. I just mean that for me, there's something more than just taking my kids trick-or-treating. There's even something more than the decorations. It is a deep thing that's to do with the time of year. It's to do with the mysticism and the myths and the legends and the stories, and knowing that this thing goes back generations, over hundreds if not thousands of years in one form or another, and that there's just something spiritual about it that really I deeply connect with. And that's what I mean. As much as I love props and my decorations, and wouldn't be without them, in honesty, even if I didn't have them, Halloween would still be deeply special to me. If only for the creepy eeriness that is that time of year, and its link to the paranormal and the undead, I suppose. And I know that's a weird one, but that is genuinely how I feel about it, and that is one of the biggest reasons why I am so obsessed with Halloween. So I hope some of you guys have listened to at least some of that and gone, yeah, I think I kind of get that. I think I kind of understand that. Don't worry if you don't. I know it's a weird one. I know most people, Halloween is just a fun night at the end of October where you can go trick-or-treating and put out some cool props. I know that's what it is for a lot of people. But for me, it is just this deeper, more spiritual thing, and it's to do with ghosts and stuff and myths and legends. I just eat that stuff up. And yeah, it's a big part of why I love Halloween. And I hope at least some of you kind of understand that. Anyway guys, thank you for watching this random chat that's gone on for way too long. And I hope to see you in the next one. Keep it spooky. Bye.